There he is. The champion.
He's a senior citizen. He's got dementia.
Are you talking about me or Milton?
I'm talking about Milton.
talking about grist on Australian Pale Ale. So you've got a couple kinds of Munich that you're folding in there to kind of pump up a little bit of that depth, a little bit of color in it. And then what are we looking at for a base malt with the rest of it? Are you doing a 2-row base? Are you doing a Pils base?
2-row base. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're mostly 2-row, and then we're like 4% Munich, and then just a touch of 40, a touch of 20.
Okay, a touch of 40 and a touch of 20.
So
okay,
we're light on it, but also
sure.
Yeah.
Just a little something, dude. What made you want to make this style? Because I know you're a competition dog.
Yeah.
Was it that was a hop forward?
Oh yeah.
It was a hop forward beer that you could compete with.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was like, hey, not a lot of entries in this style. That's the Bill Womby in me.
Hey, listen, I don't know, and I know you guys do it, and I think it's great and it's gutsy. But dude, I mean, winning medals in those massive IPA categories, holy cow. Dude, it's so wild. And I remember, I mean, one small note from, I don't think I live streamed since that. I'll talk about it more at the beginning of next month and that live stream. First of all, I mean, the big takeaways were obviously, it was still West Coast and hazy as the biggest categories. High 300s, mid 400s.
Yeah. And then lagers. And then lagers.
Bro, listen, man, I'm telling you, this is where it's at, dude. The dream is happening. Yeah, because
the dude I learned from told me, "Oh, you like IPAs?
Yeah,
you'll get into lagers."
Yeah,
progression.
Was that Womby?
No, Dave Shaw.
Dave Shaw, yeah. That is your Dave Shaw impression, by the way.
I took it easy on it, but that's him. Yeah. Oh, you like IPAs, Bill?
It's a super good impression, but yeah, man. So, but yeah, I mean, those lager numbers were big, dude. See, I remember entering Hellas. And it was high 90s, low 100s, but I mean, Hellas wasn't 200.
No, almost.
Was it? But yeah.
It was encroaching on
dude, and Pils. I mean, all those lager categories. Pilsner was a fat category. Yeah. Crazy. Dude, it's so wild. So kind of going back to, it's another hoppy beer category that you can compete in. That maybe had a little bit lower entry, right? Hey, baby, I mean, let's get it. We're playing a game here, right? We're trying to win medals. We're trying to win medals.
Yeah.
So, and so you decide to fire this style up. Had you been tasting like other versions of the style, like locally or anything like that?
I'd never even heard of the style, so. And then like other versions, I don't know if they even exist. I don't even know.
You were the only person. That's why you got a gold.
I just feel like
the only guy that entered.
I just feel like people are pushing their hoppy beers into it. Like Australian Pale Ale, I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, and probably some wiggle room for some of those, especially at the time, newer Aussie hops.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
stuff like that. And,
what's up?
Yeah, man. So, well, that's funny. That cracks me up. So, but I will also say this, and you're gonna have to just eat the compliment. But I do think it's interesting though, because you hadn't really drank any of these beers before, but you look at the guideline and you clearly ended up making a banging version of it. We've got a little bit more character malt in this beer with the grist. What are we doing in the mash on a beer like this? Were you doing water adjustments back then, Bill?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So
yeah. So talk to me about mash profile, water profile a little bit.
Yeah, so I was shooting like 154. I was trying to get a little more residual sugar, and this was before the hop creep dilemma, so it wasn't a problem. But we were 2-to-1 chloride to sulfate.
Yep.
So pretty standard.
Sure.
IPA feel. We're at about 88 ppm calcium, 140 chloride, 70 sulfate.
Yeah, baby. Nice.
That's kind of weird. Yeah.
Straight I like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I do think though too, you know, like there's different ways to run it. I don't know. I like to, and I've been pushing, you know, you guys mentioned around 85 for your calcium there, which is probably adding a fair amount by you guys, because you guys don't have anything in. Yeah.
It's coming in at like 10 or whatever, or 8.
And I'm wondering, even after I'm wondering after it's like if you even have any temporary hardness. No, like once you heat that up, I'm wondering if there's even less in there, right?
Yeah, our residual alkalinity has been gone. I mean, we're basically dealing with RO or like.
Yeah. So we're in the mash now. We're resting a little bit higher to push up a little bit more body.
Yeah.
And then we're getting into the kettle with this thing, and let's start talking what we have going on kettle hop wise with this beer.
Yeah, a lot of similar stuff that we've already been talking about. So like 8 IBUs at 60 maybe. And then 10, 5, 0 type of hopping.
Yep.
We're looking at 30 IBUs total on this thing.
Sure.
Probably a little less because some of those are coming from the Whirlpool.
So, yeah, I mean, so if you were to, do you feel like it tastes like 30 IBU, or do you feel like it tastes like less?
Probably tastes like less.
Yeah.
Probably tastes like 20 maybe.
Yeah. And so how big of a beer is this?
5%. 5.
Okay. Yeah.
We're on the low end of 5. Yeah.
Sure. So where does that beer finish? I'm just trying to put all the parameters in my head.
Yeah. So at this time, pre-hop creep is finished, 12 or 10, 13, 10, 14.
That's why that was gonna be my guess.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my guess. Yeah.
And for me, that's ideal for like every hoppy beer. We just can't get there anymore.
What do you feel like? What do you feel like it does for you getting that beer at 10, 14 for hop forward beers?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a little bit of sweetness rounds out the hop flavor. So it's like instead of like a dry seltzery grapefruit flavor, you're getting like an actual grapefruit flavor from a little bit of sweetness mixed with the hop character. I think that we struggle with that now. I wish I could have a little sweetness to round out the hop character to make it actually taste like fruit instead of like a extract.
Yeah. It's tough, man. And I remember. I'll just say. I mean, I remember you talking this stuff and having it be really informative for me as a younger brewer, really instructive, and so one of the things that I've talked about in the past is, like the difference between one of those beers at 1008 and 1014, it's like think about a hard cider, a dry hard cider, and then add some simple syrup to it and mix it. And then all of a sudden it starts tasting like fruit, right? Rather than wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Around actual fruit character. I couldn't do more.
But it's a balance though too, right? Because sometimes, and I mean, we could get off track and talk about hazy, but some people are making some really sweet hazy beers.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah.
I think that's where the public loves them though.
Oh, I
feel like 1018 is where people want it to be.
They do, dude. They love it.
And as hoppy as you want, dude. It's like fruit, like orange juice.
I was asking some dudes, or no, I was listening to some podcasts or whatever, and these guys are talking about their hazy. And I realize I have to wait till they actually say the number. Like I can't assume, because sometimes people are like, hey, we go on the drier side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then like 2 minutes later, he's like, we're at 10:15. And I'm like, well, dude, so like, I mean, when you say drier side, I think you'd be like, bro, you go down to like 10:08? Like, what are you doing?
No,
But then you're like, well, what are some people doing?
That is the dry side of hazy, though, 10-15.
It is.
If you could stop it at 10-20, 10-22, I mean, I feel like that you sell a bunch of beer.
I have a batch of my hazy up right now. It's about to go away. And I finally was just like, dude, I'm gonna jack this. I took the mash temp up to like 159 or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Brother, that thing finished at 1019.
Perfect.
And dude, honestly, okay, so I can't really drink it. Well, because I'm doing my dumb, I have my dumb gluten thing going right now. But I have to tell you, the tweaks that I've made in that hazy beer, that beer for us is called Sabo. The tweaks I've made in that beer after having a conversation with Andy about what you guys are doing down there, dude, I will tell you, I have a more profound haze, and it's not slushy. It's not. It's a denser haze. And I can just say off of aromatics, and I've made a lot of changes. There's numerous things, anything from the pH drop and the kettle thing to a little bit of cone shaving that I just picked up doing. That's different things like that. There's all sorts of stuff. But dude, I will tell you, there's a density to the aromatics on that beer right now. There's a range of it that I wasn't getting before. You know what I mean? And I do think that it is because you need the haze as a carrier. Right? That haze is a carrier for hop character. Absolutely. And so by actually getting my haze up and not just having it be turbid mess, right? But actually having it be, protein hop haze like that. Dude, it does start changing the game. So I did want to tip my hat to you boys at Lynnwood. At Lynnwood for that.
To Andy in particular.
But I'll tell you, and I know Andy has a lot of leeway down there. And I think it's first of all, it's a smart thing to do because the dude's a grinder.
He is
and he loves to learn, loves to try new things. And so
as smart as a fin whip, man.
He really is. And dude, and the flip side is, though, something that I appreciate about you is as somebody that, he works for you. You have the smarts to say, hey, I need to let this guy do this. Absolutely. Because sometimes, brother, their ego gets in there, and there's other things, man. But if you got a horse in the stable, man, you got to let that dude run. Otherwise, you might lose them anyways. No doubt. You know what I mean? You gotta let those guys do their thing.
Right. You're gonna lose them faster if you can pitch. You muzzle them.
Yes. Absolutely.
And he's got a lot to offer. The dude's an amazing brewer, and he makes great beer.
He really does. He really does. He really does. Let's jump back in on the hop side. We didn't get into dry hop or anything like that with this beer, right?
No, we didn't.
I've got some hunches about what you're doing on the fermentation side. What do you have going on fermentation with this?
Straight Cal Ale.
Cal Ale?
Yeah.
68 running it. And then is it a similar dry hop approach, or kind of dig into it a little bit? There may have been some changes.
No, originally I like the stagger. That's the Vinny Salerzo method. We like to stagger. Even in hop on top, we stagger the dry hop. We do half of it one day, half 2 days later.
What's the thought on that, Bill? What's your thought process? And obviously you reference Vinny. But what's kind of the idea with that?
I'm gonna steal it straight from Vinny. His idea of that. You're getting more. So instead of one big hop cone that's falling through the wort or through the beer, you're getting half of it coming through, and then the next half through. So more exposure time, more exposure to what you're doing. So instead of one giant mound of hops,
slug,
you're cutting it.
Yeah.
So we follow that with like almost all our hoppy beers, except for now the hazies. We're not really doing that. We're kind of doing something different, but yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, and so I mean, again, we're talking about a time where we're not really worrying about hop creep,
exactly,
or anything like that.
We're pre-hop creep.
For sure, for sure. So Robert Brown, and I'm gonna wedge this question here. Robert Brown ahead of time said in a question, and it said, when it comes to adding flavor and aroma hops, say for an American pale ale, how much is enough?
Oh, there's never is too much.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's never enough. I mean, how much do you want to add? How much money do you want to spend? Seriously.
Yeah, right. And
is there ever a top end to that? I don't think there is.
Sure. And so let's talk about right now the what was the volume of dry hop, just in pounds per barrel, of what went into this beer?
So we're 2 pounds per barrel.
Oh, okay. So 2 pounds per barrel on drop bear.
Yeah, for drop bear, yeah.
Okay, so I like that. So you're talking about for your West Coast IPA right now, you're 2 pounds per barrel.
Yeah. And for
in drop bear, you're 2 pounds per barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that, man.
This ever moves forward. I mean,
it does, man. it really does. I don't know how well you could. Can you still hear me all right when I'm all sprawled out back?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do think it's an interesting question, because you do kind of hit like, okay, so if you're brewing at home, your concerns might be price, and your concerns might be volume of beer, right?
Yeah.
How much beer do you want to have? How much beer do you want to be able to get into package? I hear that.
Those things matter, I feel like.
Sure. One of my favorite Mike McDowell things was they're talking about, filtering an IPA, and do you lose hop flavor and aroma? And he's like, well, yes, but that's a recipe issue.
Exactly.
Just add more hops, right?
In the front. I used to brew double IPAs at home and dry hop them sequentially like 7 times.
Yeah.
In cornies, and 2 ounces each time, and you end up with like, you might start with a 6-gallon batch, you end up with 2 gallons of banging ass.
Well, yeah, but if it's the beer you want, though, right?
Yeah. How much money are you really spending at that point? I mean,
yeah, and I mean, I think that's really the question, to where it's like, some of this stuff comes down to how functional. How functional is it monetarily? How functional is it volume-wise? How functional is it from a production standpoint? Right. And you can have production. You can have production. Obviously, you have production requirements on the pro side.
Yeah.
But you can have production requirements at home too, man. You got to turn some beer for something, or you want to get it out of a fermenter to clear up a fermenter for something else.
Yeah.
I mean, those things always come into play. My thought is this. I mean, if you're entering a beer for competition, I think you're absolutely fine submitting it with 50% more than what would be expected flavor wise and aromatic.
And that's right.
And if you're talking American pale ale, dude, I would slap it up and throw it in there. Hope it gets into the middle of the flight. Cross your fingers. Hope that it gets in the middle of the flight.
And if you're talking cream stout, you might as well make it an undrinkably sweet cream stout. That's gonna win in a 2-ounce sample.
What I used to smash with the cream stout at home. I remember, dude. I started pushing that thing up to 1032.
Yeah,
Final.
Why not?
Dude, and it was like, to drink a pint of it is like, no way. But you enter that 2-ounce pour in a competition. Gold medal. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the weird disconnect between judging beer and drinking beer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, like, was that an approach of yours when you're, well, I mean, you're still entering competition, but even back in the day, like on the homebrew side?
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I want to beat it up. I want to be the hoppiest thing there.
Sure.
I think that's the way to win a competition. That might not be the way to make money and make a production beer.
Sure.
But that's the way to win a competition.
I don't think you're looking to hit middle of the style.
No,
especially in a style that's meant to be bold.
Yeah.
Right. The whole IPA thing, man. I mean, those are kind of inherently unbalanced beers.
Yeah, they have to
right?
be.
And so
Yeah.
you need to be gunning for the top end of it.
Yeah.
And another one is something like sweet stout.
Yeah.
We were making that joke. Sweet stout is meant to be sweet. And I always feel like I'm getting screwed when I enter a traditional Bock into a competition.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can never, I've always gotten light bodied. Or something. Yeah. I'm like, dude, listen, this beer is 1018 and like a heretic. I have like 5% flaked oats in this beer. Okay. So you're not like, I'm doing everything I can to, because I mean, the style, I mean, the residual sweetness on the style only goes up so high, but it'll say full body. So when somebody thinks full body, they're thinking like 15% Mecca Imperial Stout that is like a 1060 finishing gravity or something. Yeah. And no, I'm sorry, traditional Bock is not that.
No,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's why balance is out the window, dude. If you want to win, a competition. You go hard. In whatever direction you're heading.
I feel like you can shoot for middle of the road, maybe with some lagers, or gently flavored lagers, maybe like Helles. But I think even pills, I think even pills, you're better off being on the higher end of the flavor and aroma standpoint for bitterness.
Yeah,
all that stuff, man.
Yeah, from a beer judging perspective, I mean, those are the beers that stand out. You judge, I judge. Those are the beers that can win. They are always.
Yeah.
The hoppiest, the maltiest, the whatever, wherever you're
at. Sometimes the least drinkable, right?
Because you're only drinking a little bit,
Sure. Yeah. So kind of talking about competition, I would be interested in your take on this. And this isn't like, I don't know, it's not a loaded question. Like, what is your thought on having beer in competition? I mean, obviously we want to enter them, we want to take those medals, but like what's the end of the day? Like, what's your end of the day honest opinion about these big competitions that we're entering?
It's industry only. I mean, you're shooting to impress your peers. Like, the general consumer doesn't give a that we won this many GABFs, this many World Beer Cups. That doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. It's more about the place and the beer and but the competitions really don't matter except for our peers. Yeah. Me, you, you're only trying to impress people that make beer.
Sure.
Nobody else gives a
Well, and it was funny because, I mean, we would all rather win them than not win them, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm trying. How do I want to say this stuff? Because you want to say things the right way. I mean, you can win those awards and go out of business.
Well, absolutely. It doesn't.
I mean,
it could matter less. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you have a good marketing department, I'm sure it can be beneficial.
Only a
right?
little
Like
bit.
I'm sure you can work it into a little bump, something like that.
Only
but
a little bit, though.
I mean, but by and large, though, I think you're right. I think it's for us, and I think it's for owners.
Yeah, it is, and it's for us, and it's for recognition for people that are peers, basically. I mean,
sure. In your mind, obviously, I respect that judging process that they do. First of all, it's a massive undertaking. It's not like, I mean, imagine, have you ever judged GABF or World Beer Cup?
No, I'm not. No, I have not.
You really should, Bill.
I know. I want to. I'm trying to get my national status. I got to take. Do
you have to be national?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, just go do it.
I want to be national. Yeah.
Well, get out there and do it, because I want you to see how the sausage is made and respond back. But I mean, from everything you hear, I mean, listen, they've got quality people tasting those beers.
For sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just with anything, you're probably gonna have some that are a little not as good, and you're probably going to have some amazing. It's going to be your
Absolutely.
bell curve. It's the same with everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what does that judging process look like? Because if you have 400 beers in a category, you're not getting your hands and nose on 400 beers.
Yeah, and every beer we've ever won, it's interesting to look at the score sheets because like one guy will think it's garbage. And the other guys might think it's okay. Like I remember we won Black IPA. One dude said it was poop water. Literally, it was poop water. And the other two dudes loved it and pushed it forward.
Yeah, and then it won.
It's so fucking subjective, you know.
It's tough, and really, I think you bring up a good point. One of the things I heard somebody say this one time. I don't remember who it was. But I want to say maybe it was an old school BN guy. Maybe it was even like somebody like Sully, like Sean O'Sullivan, who shout out to Sean O'Sullivan and they took down a medal over at GABF.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the name of the brewery? I can't remember.
21st Amendment.
21st Amendment. That's right. What a great brewery name.
Yeah, for sure.
That was back before there was 19,000 breweries.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that was early.
Yeah. But maybe it was Sully talking about it, but talking something along the lines of you actually sometimes need somebody to champion the beer on the table.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you had a less aggressive person like your beer, it might get bounced. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or if you have that table bully that says it's poop water.
And I've been there on the good side of that. I've did like IPAs, and I loved this beer that had like a real berry mosaic-y.
Yeah.
And I fought for it in order for it to win, and it got like second place or just homebrew competition, but still. Yeah. Like if I wouldn't have fought for that character that I loved, so it wouldn't have placed. These other two guys would have kicked it the fuck out. So I don't know. It's so subjective.
Hey, just a quick side note. Are they really live? Stephen Plass. Yes, we are really live.
We're definitely.
It almost seems as if it could be pre-recorded. That's just because we're so smooth, man.
That's because we love each other. I mean, come on.
It's just industry pros here. Right. You know what I mean? It's just
recorded. That's a compliment. I love it.
It's just two guys with the face for what they're doing. That's you know what I mean?
Right.
Two beautiful men saying beautiful things.
Well, one beautiful man. I got a face for radio.
But yeah, man, we are live. Did I miss something? Where did we get? Did we finish this beer out? So it's finishing at like 10:14.
Yeah.
Did you tell me what was in the dry hop on this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, please tell me what was in the dry hop on your Australian Pale Ale, Bill.
So it was when Galaxy was good. At least my Galaxy was good. So we had 50% Galaxy, 25% Eldorado, 25% Mosaic.
That's a good build, man.
It's an Australian beer, but I mean, only half of it is Australian.
No, I mean, I don't think so. But I mean, so let's talk about Galaxy a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those hops that people can have some feelings about. So,
yeah. Andy
where are you at with that hop, man?
It's to me. It's like so many other hops. I can't get good Galaxy. Maybe I got to go to Australia and
select, baby.
It used to be like 5 years ago. Oh my god, every Galaxy you got was great.
What were you pulling out of it back then?
Oh geez, just like tropical fruit, just like a fruit cup,
Yeah.
And there was no grassiness. There was no like. Now we get grassy out of it. We're trying to like mess with dry hop times to try to maybe add it to end 2 days and get it out of there and try to get that fruit and not get the grass.
I've heard some of that. I've heard some people working with timing with those hops. Yeah.
And that's where we're at now. I have some of it, and it's just sitting because I don't. Same with Nelson Sauvin. I mean, I got that hop sitting, and when I first got it, it was incredible, and now.
Yeah, man. It's tough because I remember I have not used a ton of Galaxy. I've used some Galaxy here and there. And the last couple times I've had it, it is like a grassier.
Yeah.
I will say now this can be user error. I will talk about the possibility of some user error here, but like of not knowing when or contact time. But the flip side is it shouldn't always have to be like some riddle that you're trying to solve with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes too.
But
it does seem as if there's been some shift with that, and those fellows down there, it sounds like they're figuring out some different growing schedule things. It's a harvest thing too, I'm sure,
and drying time and all that. It's all that's why I hate agriculture. I fucking hate it.
Said the vegan.
I just want it to be consistent, you know. I want every hop to be consistent every time. I don't care where it's grown or whatever, and it's just not the case.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. And so, and I know I had some Galaxy. I was just saying to myself, dude, when am I going to put this in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're trying to chunk it up into small parts of a dry hop and hope it doesn't get noticed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Galaxy was that it really used to ball out back in the day.
It could be the sexiest thing in the world, dude. When it's good, holy.
But I do like though where your gut went with trying to build out this Australian pale ale kind of build with it, where you're going to have because those hops, those New Zealand hops do have a particular terroir, right? They do have a particular tropical thing going on down there.
Yeah.
So you know you're getting it with your Galaxy. Yeah. But I do like that you can see that you're going back to some bread and butter too with some other really stand up hops.
Yeah. Some El Dorado, some Mosaic to kind of push the fruit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so Mosaic is a hop that we haven't talked a lot about. You can get some different things out of it. When Mosaic is good, what is Mosaic like in your mind?
Oh man, it's tropical fruit. It's just a tropical fruit. It's like a fruit cup.
Pineapple. What about berry? Do you ever pull berry out of Mosaic?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Like a dark berry thing. I think that's more late hop than dry hop. At least it used to be.
As in late kettle hop or hop?
Yeah. But I've also done small batches where I did whole leaf Mosaic hops, and it's straight berry.
Really?
Yeah. But now where we're at with it, it's like we're getting a little too much dank sometimes, and tropical fruit if we're lucky.
Yeah.
The berry thing, seems to be gone.
Do you ever get? All right, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think I've said this on the internet before. So I used to run, and I used to have like this little Nike like running jacket. So this is when I would run during the winter. Okay.
A little windbreaker.
But this was like a little heavier for like running in the winter.
Yeah.
So it was like a nice layer piece, and I would run, come in the basement. We had a walk in the basement, and I would just hang that jacket up and take my shoes off down there, and then come upstairs. And even though it's cold and winter, I mean, you're still sweating.
Yeah.
This is why listen. I am 100% sober. I have no idea why I'm telling this story. After a winter of running in this jacket, I ended up smelling it, and I'm like, dude, this thing smells like Mosaic. Like kind of like this, like kind of like, have you ever pulled? I've heard some. I heard maybe it was John Mallett, maybe it was somebody else, but it was one of those Michigan boys.
Yeah,
and they were saying that they get Festival Hippie Pit off of Mosaic. Do you
that? Yeah.
Like kind of like. Yeah. So Mosaic can get a little like armpity to me, like a little BOE.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a weird thing. And so my running jacket did somehow smell like and it was and all it was my gross like armpit sweat just left to like cultivate.
I hate to watch. I hate to watch these hops go that way, though. I mean, I feel like it goes from small farm to a big farm, and you lose a lot in the struggle. But like,
I mean, what do you think it is? I mean, is it a picking time thing?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's in a new farm. I think it's all picking time. I feel like you're totally right. Like early harvested Simcoe versus late harvested Simcoe. You're talking about delicious, piney, fruity versus like fucking burnt tire. So I feel like a lot of it is definitely picking time, and these farms can't. It's a lot to balance.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. They're scaling too when it comes to these hops, right? Coming hot, and they get all these crowns in the ground and whatever, and yeah, man, it can't be easy. They have to try to schedule that stuff out, and I think we all know there's kind of that link between the longer those hops are on the vine, the more they're going to be picking up those things we're not crazy about.
Yeah, exactly.
By and large, right? And
yeah, you're right about that.
Interesting question from Michael Maroney just came in the chat.
Maroney.
Any chance you could sing? Any chance you could sing Brandy? You're a fine girl to Bill. It would take him back to Big Rapids. I think Mike came up. I think Mike came up. I don't think Mike ever came up and brewed with us there, but I do remember having a beverage with him out on your patio. Yes. So I think he did come up and visit.
Yes, yeah.
Mike is out in Boston now. He's brewing at a Sam Adams joint out there. I think
he's brewing in bright tanks where you don't clean them. They have to have in bags.
Yeah,
the bag goes into the fucking bright tank.
He told me about that too, man.
Amazing.
It has to be some situation where, like, obviously. So the crazy thing is from a technology standpoint, we both know how cheap chemical is.
Yeah.
So if these bags mean they have to be cheaper than chemical, but at the same time, but you're also factoring labor and time and everything like
all
that.
It's a bunch
and I'm assuming they're probably on some level they break down or what have you. But Mike is
what a fucking amazing thing that is, dude.
That's wild.
It blows my mind every time I talk to Maroney. I love you, Mike Maroney, by the way.
He's lovable. He's lovable. He's the one that got me on Bamboo. If you guys were tuned in for last month, he got me listening to that independent rapper out of Oakland, Bamboo, who you should check out. But no, man. So I talked to Mike. I want to get him. I want to get him on here at some point. He's sweating me out on that. He might be more shy than you are about it.
No way, Maroney, brother.
But yeah, man. So I'm gonna be interested because I think he's running some pretty cool gear over there. I do think they run some small batch R&D over there, and
they do. And he made.
I think he's getting a chance to doing his own thing a little bit too.
He made a badass double IPA. I was talking to him about. Phenomenal, dude.
We're gonna have to dig in on it.
You got to get on it, bro.
Well, listen, man. Let me think. I mean, I think we kind of wrapped up the Aussie Pale Ale thing. Let me think. Just kind of like if you had to talk big picture, either Pale Ale, West Coast IPA. What do you think is the heart and soul of those beers for the way you like to brew them? If you just wanted to kind of nutshell what those beers are supposed to be in your mind.
Yeah. West Coast IPA, I feel like should be basically at this point all 2-row, 10-10 if you can get there, 3-4 pounds per barrel. And soft. The bitterness has to be soft. I feel like we're heading towards 70 IBU, 50, 40, 30.
Yep.
I feel like you can make a banging ass West Coast IPA at 20 IBU.
Sure.
And let's just get that. It just has to be clear. Let's get the hops let's get the bitterness out of the way. Like a modern IPA or whatever.
Yeah, man. For sure. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you feel as if you got any value out of the video, please like and subscribe. There are also other videos that you can watch. They're going to maybe be over here or over here. Appreciate you watching.